Okay, we're recording.
Okay. Following is the agenda of the regular meeting minutes of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, Passaic County, to be held in the Pompton Lakes Municipal Building, 25 Lenox Avenue, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey, Wednesday, September 9th, 2020, beginning at 7:30. Call to order.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President Bennett.
Here.
Councilman Day.
Here.
Councilman DeLine.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilwoman Polidori. Here. Councilwoman Riker.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney David Rutenberg and our Borough Administrator Kevin Boyle.
All right, let's stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And justice for all.
You're another time zone, correct? Okay. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all requested and paid for same, and published in Suburban Trends. Okay, my updates. I'd just like to, for the public's sake, read the newsletter. I do send a newsletter out once a week about the coronavirus, and some people do see it, some people don't. So I just wanted to make sure everybody takes a look at it, if I can find it. While we're waiting, our lake has tested positive for an algae bloom from the DEP. The DEP contacted us to tell us that it did test positive. It's an advisory right now, basically stating that, and you'll see this around the lake, basically there'll be no kayaking, canoeing, pets in the water. You really shouldn't spend time in the water. You can boat in the lake still. You just can't really get into the water too much, and you can fish, but you can't eat the fish. This has nothing to do with the DuPont contamination. This has to do with a harmful algae bloom. We spoke to the DEP today. They hope, because of the no rain and a very hot summer, the lake got very warm, and because of that, the algae started to bloom without a lot of rain in it. With the weather cooling off and the lake cooling off, they hope that it should disappear in the next couple weeks. They will come back and retest it. When they do retest it, we will, of course, let the public know that we can go back in. It does happen occasionally in the state of New Jersey in many different areas. You might be all familiar with Lake Apacon, had it a while ago. We don't have it that severe, but just everyone should be aware of that. Okay. So my report for the coronavirus, as of Tuesday, September 8th, we have 4 new confirmed cases of the virus in Pompton Lakes. We have a total of 255 reported cases since the start of the virus. Thank you to all our residents for continuing to wear masks and practice social distancing. We continue to mourn the loss of the 9 residents who passed due to the virus complications. Our hearts are out for their loved ones. Passaic County is the first county in the nation to provide saliva virus testing from home. Please go to the Passaic County website for more information on how to order a free kit, and they'll mail it to your home. There is no cost to the resident, there's no cost for the mailing, and no cost to get your results. So if that's something you'd like to take part in, contact the county and they will get you that. Gyms and indoor dining are open at 25% capacity. Martial arts studios can now open at 25%. All sports groups can now practice as long as they abide by strict state guidelines. Outside gatherings can have up to 500 people with 6 feet of separation and masks on. Indoor gatherings, 25% of capacity, or up to 150 people. As we know, because it just passed, Pompton Day has been canceled. We did shoot off our fireworks, which I had a lot of nice compliments, even though we had to change it. We had to do it from Hirschfield Park. We had about 250 to 300 residents there in person, but many, many residents watching it from their homes. I heard a lot of nice compliments about the fireworks show themselves. A townwide garage sale is rescheduled for Saturday, September 26th. Thank you again to the Business Improvement District, BID, for working with our chamber to reopen our businesses. Please go and support our wonderful restaurants and small businesses. They are taking all necessary precautions to ensure you can enjoy your dining, salon, or shopping experiences. We've come a long way, slowly but surely. We're getting there. Remain vigilant, and remember, we are all in this together, and please practice social distancing. That's just my update. I do put that out once a week. As a whole, the town has been doing very well with following the guidelines. We haven't had a lot of calls from the police department and concerns with that, and we've had a lot of great events. We had a motorcycle run for Pete Camper that was at the Elks. We had no issues, so we've had some things happen. So I thank all the residents for doing what they have to do. I'd like to thank Liz and the whole office staff for putting the ceremony together of the 9/11 ceremony. You know, initially we thought maybe we should cancel it due to the virus, but I think it was a good call to bring it on. We made it smaller. We didn't invite a lot of residents, but we wanted to show our respects, and I think it worked off well. You know, we'll be back to our normal self next year, but thank you, Liz, and everybody in the office for doing that. Okay, could I have a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
So moved.
Councilman DeLine, Councilwoman Palladori. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? No? Okay. I have a motion to close the meeting for public comments.
So moved.
Second.
So
Councilman
moved,
DeLine,
Riker.
Councilman DeLine, Councilman President Bennett. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approval of minutes. Motion to approve the following minutes. Regular meeting minutes of August 12th, 2020.
So moved.
So moved, Riker.
Councilwoman Riker, Councilman DeLine. Anybody abstaining? Everybody was here, right? Okay. You were abstaining, actually. Councilwoman Kent, welcome to your first council meeting today.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
A second.
Or second, actually, will be present to that vote. Bills and claims, we have no bills and claims. Consent agenda. Liz, whenever you're ready.
Does anyone wish to have any polls? Resolutions pulled? No?
Nope.
Okay. Whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes have reviewed the consent agenda consisting of various proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the Borough of Pompton Lakes does not desire to move resolutions for individual action from that agenda. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 20-182 through 20-188.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Councilman Begg, Councilwoman Polidori. Roll call, please.
All, you want all in favor?
All in favor, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Okay, introduction, first readings.
Okay, this ordinance will be presented second reading, final adoption on September 23rd. Ordinance 2020, an ordinance amending Chapter 190 of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Pompton Lakes, reestablishing the zoning regulations in the R9 multifamily district, including Block 100, Lot 25, in the AH2 zone, and affirming the revised zoning map of the borough dated July 13th, 2020.
Okay, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Riker.
Councilwoman Riker.
Second.
Councilman DeWine. Discussion. Can we just get a little update, because some people were a little confused. We know, this is about the, do you know anything
Well,
about this?
as all part of the redevelopment of the A&P Shopping Center, this ordinance has to be done to kind of tie it all together. It was kind of lost in the shuffle.
Okay.
So that kind of ties in the changes that were made as part of the A&P Shopping Center redevelopment. And also, if you recall, I provided everybody with a new zoning map. Last council meeting said the ordinance would be coming through to accept that new map. This now accepts that new zoning map. And Mazer and Debbie Lawler did a great job going back through a number of years of planning board and board of adjustment approvals to make sure the map conformed with what was out in reality in terms of development. So that this map is up to date and would be a very good help for those people who need to have up-to-date zoning information.
Anything you need to add? Are we good? You good? with that?
Yeah, this is fine. This is just a housekeeping ordinance that
Okay, perfect.
brings everything back in order.
Motion to approve ordinance 2020 for introduction.
So moved.
Councilwoman Palladori.
Second.
Councilman DeLine. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kent.
Can I vote? I can vote?
Yes, you can.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Begg.
Yes.
Councilman DeLine.
Yes.
Okay, next ordinance.
Okay, ordinance 20-21, an ordinance amending Chapter 7 of the Municipal Code of the Borough of Pompton Lakes and revising the parking prohibition of the Riverview Road.
Okay, Eric, you want to talk about that, or do you have anything on that one, on the parking, on the ordinance?
It's All this ordinance would do is, there's a certain portion of Riverview Road, I believe on the northern side, that prohibits parking, and all they're doing during this time period is to extend where that parking is prohibited along the street.
Okay.
I believe it's on the south side of Riverview Road. Again, mostly I think because of school pickup and drop-off concerns during that time period.
Okay. Motion to approve ordinance 2021 for introduction.
So moved.
Councilwoman Palladori.
Second.
Council President Bennon. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker.
Yes.
Councilman Bennon.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Ordinance for second reading and final adoption. Ordinance 20-19, an ordinance amending redevelopment plan for downtown Pompton Lakes, amending ordinance number 19-01, subsequently amended by adding block 6300, lot 1, 201 Montague Avenue to downtown Pompton Lakes redevelopment area.
Okay, so this motion is involved, there was a piece of the redevelopment block that would be redeveloping that wasn't put in initially. It was an oversight, and we're just putting that block back into the redevelopment zone. It's in the middle of downtown, so each side of it is in the redevelopment zone. For some reason, this block was not put in. Motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 20-19.
So moved.
So moved, Riker.
Councilwoman Riker,
Second.
Councilman Bennon, oh no, was it Devine? All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address just this ordinance? Seeing no one, motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 20-19.
So moved.
Councilwoman Palladori,
Second.
Council President Bennon, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Roll call, please. Oh, I'm sorry. Motion to approve ordinance 2019 for final adoption.
So moved.
Councilman Begg,
Second.
Councilman Devine, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Polidori.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker.
Yes.
Councilman Bennon.
Yes.
Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Rose.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so before I start my report, the open spaces were working very hard in the last year to look at the Muller property, which is the piece of property along the lake on Lakeside Avenue. They've come up with a plan on how they're going to spend some money there, and between Councilwoman Palladori and Councilman Devine, maybe you can give it a little oversight of what we're looking to do there. Whoever wants to go first. Councilman, go ahead, Jen, you go.
So we've been working hard over the last couple months to draw a plan together that has been really begun formation years back with the Open Space Committee in beautifying and improving some of the aspects of the Lakeside Park, including the addition of a floating walkway, a 90-foot span of floating walkway in front of the Mueller property, an upgrade and revamping of the existing playground structure to make it more accommodative and to have an all-inclusive play aspect for families and children with special needs. We've included some new fencing to make it more of an enclosed space, some improvements on the gazebo and existing structures to beautify them, and the addition of a guardrail and removal of some of the old fencing that's in disrepair along the Mueller property. So we went back and forth with a few different vendors and really came up with an estimate and a plan that we think is going to work very nicely in that space.
Okay, so as we all know up here, the open space makes a recommendation to the council. We make a decision on spending the money, so what I need is the total number of what we're planning on spending. Do you have that money?
I do.
Do you have it, Kevin, there? Do you have it?
The estimate, give or take, depending on how everything shakes out, state contract numbers and so forth, is $240,000 in round numbers. It could be higher or lower, but that's the ballpark. And that will include all the amenities that Councilman Palladori outlined.
Okay, so I just want to remind the residents at home, the $240,000 is coming from an open space fund. It's a small percentage taken out of your taxes. It's not coming out of our direct taxes. This is money that we've been saving over time, and Councilman Devine, help me, what's the percentage, or Councilwoman Kent maybe even knows, what's the percentage of the open space that comes out of taxes? Is it .001?
It's
.01 per $100 assessment.
So it's .001 out of every $100 that's spent out of your taxes.
1/10.
Oh, I'm sorry, one-tenth.
One-tenth.
One-tenth of
Right.
1%. That's out of your taxes, that over time builds up. We also get matching funds sometimes from the county, from their open space funds. This is a good project, in my opinion. It hits a lot of bells that we've been looking. I can tell you that Councilwoman Kent, Councilman DeLine, Councilman Venon, and Councilman Palidori have all been working on this in different ways from the parts that they see that they want to see put into it. So I think it's a good compromise of spending the money. We have yet to spend the money. The last time we spent the money was on Willow Field, if I'm correct. Is that correct?
Yes.
Which was probably
Yeah,
10, 12 years ago.
Yep.
It's one of the reasons I started running as council, was to get Willow Field built with Councilwoman Kent. So we haven't really spent that money. So what I'm going to ask is a roll call vote, starting with Councilwoman Kent, to see if they...
Mayor,
Yes.
discussion, please?
Sure, go ahead, sure.
In the administrator's report, he had a very detailed list
Correct.
of how we got to the just under $250,000. My concern is that it might be available, but it wasn't in the report. I don't know if it exists. Are there any conceptuals or any drawings or anything to be able to visualize what we're doing?
We have a very vague conceptual drawn by the playground and the dock people, but it's really not much to see except thinking about a dock going from the gazebo to the bridge and a new playground equipment. That's basically what we're looking at.
Well, okay, so I guess I'm going to ask the question in a different way. Whenever we sit at redevelopment and we're talking about a project of some magnitude, we see some diagrams, sometimes computers, sometimes sketches, sometimes something. Isn't there anything that we can see?
At this point in time,
Yeah, go ahead.
no. Be very frank. What's happening now is the vendor who is going to supply our playground equipment, our benches, our picnic tables, was out on the field today taking elevation shots and so forth. Once that's done, then he'll be able to provide us with a conceptual plan as to how the new playground will look and how the grounds will lay out. So that will be when we'll see that. So at this point in time, you don't have it now, but again, we still need to have authorization to move forward, and then we'll get, and I can share it to you when I get that. But because most of the other stuff, honestly, Terry, is chain link fence, it's repair of existing water. It's stuff that already exists in the field that's not going to change. It's upgraded because it's just deteriorated. Like I said, once the contractor comes back with a plan, now that he has the survey work done, then we'll actually see where things lay out, and you'll get a better handle on it then. And there's always time for discussion, but we need to get some movement going so we can give this contractor a sense that we are buying into the project and moving forward with it. So the answer is not right now, but probably in the next week or two, they'll have a diagram available for the council to see.
And the one thing to keep in mind, Councilman Riker, is Councilwoman Riker, is we're going to start with the initial of putting in playground equipment now, but the main part of the project won't start until probably spring or summer, because by the time we get permits needed and things like that from the DEP, it could take some time. But we can put in the special needs playground equipment right now, which is part of the decision that the open space group made. So that's why we're pushing it in now. And like the administrator said, we will have a better plan once they come forward with all the permitting requirements and things needed.
So I guess my question is, when you say contractor, do you mean vendor or do you mean somebody else?
No, state vendor, Terry. This company's on the state and co-op vendor to provide the playground equipment. So once he gets that finished, they will provide you with a schematic as to where things are going. But they had to be out in the field doing the field work, which they were doing today.
And the breakout that you got on your sheet there does break down each piece of equipment that we're looking to put in, and breaks down what the dock costs and the kayak launch and all these things that we're talking about, but it's not in drawing form yet. It's not in a diagram form.
What concerns me is we have a vendor, he's state approved, everyone's done their due diligence. What I'm concerned about is that we have a vendor, but do we have anyone, I mean, in my mind, and again, this isn't my area of expertise, do we have a landscape architect or designer or somebody who's laying this out fully so we have...
Well, nothing's
we have a
changing.
plan?
Nothing's changing. We're just replacing equipment that's there already in the same spot. And he's given us the playground equipment, for example. The playground people tell us the best place to put that. The dock itself, the dock company will tell us it's going against the main, the land, so it's only going in one spot. So that's all that's being done, those two things. The other stuff is fencing.
We're not changing the slope or moving ground around or anything like that to do this project?
Nothing. The only thing we're doing, the only reason we need permits is in the water to put footings in the lake.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, so I'll start with Councilwoman Kent on a yes or no.
Yes.
Councilman Devine.
Yes.
Councilman Benton,
Yes.
President. Councilman Bay.
Yes.
Councilwoman Valadori.
Yes.
Councilwoman Riker.
Yes.
Okay, so good luck. We'll hear more about that project as we move forward. Okay. Under my report, I'd like to start with, I'll go back to the fireworks. I got to thank our fire and police department for coming out on Labor Day on Sunday to make sure everything was done safely. We had no real issues with it. We had it set down at Hirschfield Park because it was a better location to ID people coming in. The fireworks were closed only to Pompton Lakes residents, and you had to show ID to get in, so this was a better way for the police department to do that. Luckily for us, we only had about 300 people down at the actual field, but I did drive around town, and there was numerous people hanging out on their properties or on open spaces to see it, and you could see it from a lot of different locations. So it was a nice setup. I think it worked out well. Would have been a beautiful day for Pompton Day, but unfortunately we lost it. So we'll move forward and do that next year. I'd like to talk about the bid a little bit, our Business Improvement District. That's another tax that's collected from the business owners, not from us taxpayers, and that goes to improvements of our downtown with benches and new brick and sidewalk and lighting and specials. We are going to entertain the idea of making a zero contribution to the bid at the next council meeting for the bid tax, and that's coming from a request probably from the bid. We've done that for the last 6 months, and now moving forward we'll do it for another 6 months. So basically what we're trying to do is help our businesses out and not tax them for this whole year, so keep that in mind. But at the same token, let's always keep in mind our bid is a big part of our community here. If we were to lose our bid for any reason, they spend real money in our downtown, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which we as a town couldn't pick up the cost to do. So we have to make sure our bid stays vital and strong. They do street cleaning, they remove snow, they put in new street lights, they do all these things. Holiday stroll, the Christmas lights, they do all these things. So we have to make sure we still keep our bid going strong. It's very important. I attended things have been very quiet, so I've attended my first golf outing from the VFW and the Elks with some people here. It was nice to get outside and actually have an event with people from town. They had about 120 golfers there. It was nice to be outside, and everything was done outside. It was a little rainy, but congratulations to them for putting on the event. Rotary. Oh, Rotary. I'm sorry, Rotary. You're right. Rotary and VFW. There was a meeting today with Jersey Central Power and Light, the executives, not the mayors, and some senators to question how they reacted to the storm. I heard through the grapevine that some people in the state are asking for a 48-hour turnaround time to get the lights turned on. I don't know how realistic that is, and I don't know if Jersey Central is even going to entertain the idea, but that's one of the things they are asking. Anything we can do from our side, we will, but it's really a state decision on how that is done, from the governor down and the legislation and the Senate. But we can put pressure on them just like a resident can put pressure on those people if you're not happy with Jersey Central and Power Light. Same thing goes for the cable company. I did get a lot of calls about Cablevision, and I am not happy with Cablevision myself, but right now they're the only game in town. And so if we want cable coming to our house, that's what we got to use. It's sad, but that's what it is. So again, making phone calls as a resident doesn't hurt anybody. You can do those things, and we can move forward. Our recreation department, which I'm sure somebody here will talk about, but we've been very quiet because of the virus. We have to keep in mind things are going on. I believe it or not, I've gotten a lot of calls from parents about Halloween. Halloween is not a town holiday. It is not a state holiday. We will not be making a decision on Halloween. It's a parent decision. We will decide if we have our own pumpkin hunt. That's still a long time away, a month and a half from now. But, you know, the parents will be making your own decisions if you want to send your kids out trick-or-treating. A car show might be happening with the bid and the chamber in October. I haven't heard much about it, but that could be another event that's happening. You know, we do have our garage show happening the 26th. Let's keep in mind, social distancing and masking has to happen on the properties, and you know, hopefully that goes off without a hitch. And that is my report. Council President Venon.
Thank you, Mayor. Last month, the Friends of the Pompton Lakes Library held a drive-in movie event. My kids and I attended. It was a pretty good turnout. Both the adults and kids appeared to enjoy the movie Jumanji. It was the one with The Rock, the first one. Welcome to the Jungle, I think it was called. Looking forward to the next one. Fireworks, amazing. Great job by everyone involved. The folks that were there, the police did a great job handling the folks as they were coming in. Thanks to everyone that made that happen. Tonight's modified 9/11 ceremony, shortened, yes, but at least we were still able to honor those folks and still hold something. Thank you, Liz. Thanks to everyone for putting that together. So it leads me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is the 9/11 Promise Run. Last year, this time, I was actually not physically here. I was actually, at this point, probably in Trenton, making our way into making our way through New Jersey the following day. This organization coordinates a run that starts at the Pentagon Memorial on September 9th and ends at the World Trade Center on September 11th. Over 3 days, a bunch of runners run a total of 240 miles. Tonight, I started the virtual run, which this year we're doing it a little differently. Folks are asked to run a total of 9.11 miles over the 3 days, or 9.11 miles in one day. So today, I ran through Pompton Lakes with this flag here. It's called the Flag of Honor, and it lists every individual who passed away during the attacks. Some folks saw me today. They were honking, they were waving. Tomorrow I'll be running through Riverdale with some neighbors as well. Anybody's welcome to join me. I'm starting at around 5 o'clock. And then Friday, a bunch of my coworkers at UPS were starting at near the Intrepid, right by our 43rd Street building, and running the 3.5 miles down to the World Trade Center Friday morning. So that should be very interesting. Let's never forget, there's a whole bunch of kids, basically anybody who's 19 and below were not around when this happened. So I'm going to think it's going to be something like when President Kennedy passed or was assassinated to me, because it would happen before I was born. I knew it happened. I knew it was a piece of history, but I didn't really have a connection to it. So it's our job as the folks who lived through it to at least keep that memory alive and teach our kids and our future grandkids about it. Thank you.
Great, and thank you for doing that run. One of the things I forgot to mention in my report, the COVID funding, we did spend, was it 670? Was that it?
$650,000.
$650,000 that we got from the federal government. Each town in Passaic County got some funding. We did spend all $650,000 to make things improve how we do things for the virus. There'll be a lot of improvements here to the Borough Hall, to our police department, fire department. We purchased a lot of items for the school that we're storing in case there's a second wave. You know, we're doing the best we can to prepare for the future. You see all this plexiglass that's up now, that was all purchased with these funds. So, you know, there are some towns that are still trying to figure out how to spend it. I got to thank our administrator and our grant writer for putting us in the right direction on how to spend it. We had a weekly meeting for a couple months to figure out where we should put the money, and there were some big-ticketed items that we're purchasing that we'll be able to use to fight the virus. Hopefully it goes away, but if it doesn't, we'll be a little better prepared than we were the first time. So I just wanted to remind everybody of that. Councilwoman Riker.
Thank you, Mayor. I echo your support for the bid and reminding the community how important it is to us and how much they do. I just need to clarify, the bid is not a tax on the business owners. The bid is a tax on the property owners in the business district, so that people realize where the money is coming from. I also am very proud of our community that we did not forget, even though it was smaller, that we were able to put on a meaningful 9/11 ceremony, and kudos to Council President Bennett for going above and beyond in terms of his participation in 9/11 events, and thank you for doing that. I participated in the Board of Ed meeting. I think several other council people were on that. And the only reason I bring it up is clearly the Board of Ed and the governing body are two distinct groups. But it's emblematic of how well our community functions in a collaborative way. You could tell from all the questions from the parents on the Zoom meeting how nervous they were about the start of school. But there was a calm, there was questions were answered, there was a real communal spirit that not only was exhibited there, but as the mayor indicated, was exhibited during our firework display and other things. There's two reports that we have been given in the last week or so that I just want to mention publicly and draw people's attention to, that I really feel have been done beautifully, and they contain a lot of interesting information. One is the report that was sent by the county, basically doing a 6-month comprehensive assessment of COVID in Passaic County and lots of breakdowns by towns. And it was easy to read, very well done, and if you haven't read it, I would encourage you to do it. The next thing is the report that we received, the aging-friendly assessment, did a beautiful job in summarizing our town, and was, again, very, very well prepared, very detailed, and I think also worth reading. There's something that was not mentioned, and I think needs to be mentioned. We are in the process of 2020 census. We did get a report in terms of how well our community is doing in terms of reporting and participating in the numbers. We're about midway in terms of Passaic County, but frankly, the way our community acts and works collectively, I see no reason why we really couldn't be really at the top of the chart. So for people who don't realize the key importance of the census, this census is only done every 10 years, and it really, the amount of population that is documented really has a huge impact on the funding of our local hospitals, our schools, our roads, our bridges, and also local block grants. So I'm going to ask, I guess, the mayor and perhaps Liz and Kevin, whatever we can do to sort of make it as easy for people who have not participated in the census. There is still a little bit of time to do whatever we can to get that message out. This might sound like a minor thing, but it's something I do want to bring up. During this time, I'm sure everyone is looking to be as active as they can while they are safe. And there's lots more people riding bikes and taking walks. And unfortunately, people have gotten a little lax when it comes to dog walking. And unfortunately, we've experienced a tremendous increase in people not picking up their dogs. Please, if this involves you, please don't be lax in that. It really impacts the entire community. And Mayor, there are two things that I want to indicate in terms of celebrations. I know this time it is hard to find all sorts of wonderful good things. One is I want to acknowledge that we do have the 100-year anniversary of the woman's right to vote, and that really should not go unnoticed. We also have the turquoise teal ribbons around town. And I don't think that was acknowledged in any of the remarks so far. And the last thing I'd like to say is we are just approaching the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and that is our holiest of times. It's our New Year, and anyone who is celebrating, I wish them a happy and healthy New Year, L'Shana Tova. Thank you, Mayor. That's my report.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilwoman Riker, for reminding me about the census. The census is very important to us and to the state, so everyone needs to take the 5 minutes it takes to fill out the form online, in person. So I did get some calls. We have no control of people going door to door. I don't think they've started in our town yet, but I've heard from some other towns where they have. I have no control of who they do it. They do their own paperwork. But if you don't want them to keep coming back, just answer their questions. If they don't take any information about who you are, where you live, but your numbers and your count mean something to this borough and to this state. So please make sure you do the census any way you can. And they will be going door to door in the next week or two in Pompton Lake, so don't be afraid if someone's knocking on your door asking a question that they're a census. They will show ID, they will not come in your house. But if you don't want them knocking on your door, just go online, look up the U.S. Census. You can fill it online. It takes a minute. So thank you for reminding me of that.
Mayor?
Yes.
Just for point of www.2020census.gov.
Great.
That's how you access the questionnaire.
Thank you. Okay, Councilman Begg.
Yeah, I'd like to comment on the fireworks. I've heard a lot of good comments about it. I know from my view up at the this area up in Summit Falls, there's a great view up there. I unfortunately didn't get to see it. I was at the shore. Liz, thank you for your 9/11 organization. You and your staff did a wonderful job with that. And again, the mayor talked about the bid, and they do a very, very good job. One of the best things they've done is the replacement of the interior of the streetlights, which you notice is a lot brighter at this time. And they've done a fine job with that. And that's my report.
Okay, thank you. One of the things I forgot to mention that Councilman Begg reminded me, we did start paving in town. Stiles Court was just paved the last 2 days. It came out very nice. There was a little bump, a tree came down that we will have to address, and we are already addressing it and fixing it. Colfax Avenue, which I hear a lot about, is not far behind. We hope to have that done in the next 2 weeks. There's some smaller streets off of Colfax that I don't remember the name offhand, but they're being paved too. So this is our paving month. There will be paving streets in this whole month, and hopefully we get all the roads in that we said we would. Once we get Colfax done, that would be a complete job done from the Oakland border all the way through Pompton Lakes, which would be a big deal for getting that done. Councilman DeWine.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start off tonight by thanking the borough for holding tonight's 9/11 ceremony. As probably people know by now from previous years, 9/11, September 11th, holds special meaning for me. So even in the midst of this COVID, to be able to have this ceremony, although much smaller than it has been and less attended, still means quite a bit. So I do want to thank Liz for continuing to organize that. I want to start also by thanking Barbara Jennings for organizing this year's Pompton Day 5K. About 73 runners attended. It was very well organized. One of the few actual in-person races going on throughout the state. People wore masks before the race, people wore masks after the race. We had a lot of volunteers. And again, just another thing that makes our community special, that even throughout this, we continue on these kind of traditions. Thanks to the borough for holding the fireworks of Pompton Day. Again, just a little bit of a different Pompton Day, the fireworks. My family and I went. We were actually in the stadium. I thought the venue was great. We probably wouldn't have been able to see it from our house, but it sounds like a lot of people were able to. It went very well. Another great fireworks display. So again, thank you to the borough for continuing that on. I just wanted to congratulate the Pompton Lake School District for the start of school, and I wish the best to all the students and having a great year, whether they're starting the hybrid learning or all virtual this year. Again, both my kids are in elementary school, and everything went very well. The teachers, the school district, the principals have really been on the ball, and it's gone well, at least the first couple of days. I mean, you can tell that they've thought about it and they really have a plan and they're implementing it. One of the last things I wanted to point out was with the open space vote, the Lakeside Park project, as you mentioned, that's been years in the making. We on the open space committee, and though Councilwoman Kent wasn't able to take the vote as part of the open space member, this had been started years ago, and we had kind of held off and waited until the Camorras DuPont Acid Brook remediation project was complete. So the walkway, the park improvements really started with the Open Space Committee with Councilwoman Kent. Councilwoman Polidori did a great job implementing her vision of the inclusive playground. So it really became a plan that really nicely brought together by a lot of different perspectives and ideas, and it ends up being a stronger plan. And the reason why this project is also important is because we were able to use open space funding, and it was a change that we had made a couple years ago by referendum that allowed us to use this open space funds on properties that weren't necessarily acquired using open space property. So we could have done the walkway on the Mueller property, but we couldn't have necessarily done the playground property. So we rectified that a couple years ago. This is our first time utilizing that change, and I think what ends up being as a result is a much better project as a result of all of that. And finally, I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Rosh Hashanah coming up. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for reminding me about the 5K run. I heard it went off very well, and I'm glad that they got that out. They spent a lot of time thinking about how to make it work during this COVID time, and I think it worked out well, so that's good to hear. The one thing you didn't mention is we did have an aging-friendly meeting, and we are looking for some representation. Maybe you want to speak a little bit about what we're looking for in people to join that committee?
Yeah, I mean, we're as Councilwoman Riker mentioned and the mayor just mentioned, the borough received support from the Taub Foundation and New Jersey Future to develop a aging-friendly land use or aging-friendly plan for Pompton Lakes. And that's really the idea that as our residents grow older, ways that we can help them remain in their home, remain in the community, still access essential services, whether that be medical, shopping, working, those kind of things. And so these organizations are helping really assess the borough, identify those strategies that we can do to be part of that. Now, the plan is close to being finalized. We just have a draft that's going to be probably released to the public relatively soon. But again, it's also something that we want to continue on. So, we had some good representation throughout the project. We're still looking to build capacity for more. We are in particular looking for maybe some non-traditional representation. Our Hispanic community is one that we tried through St. Mary's and we were unsuccessful, so we're still looking for that kind of perspective on living in Pompton Lakes, growing older in Pompton Lakes, and finding ways to make things a little bit better for our aging residents.
Great. Thank you. Councilwoman Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to just update you on Karen Murphy's report on the 5K run. She said that they had 83 sign-ups. They had a maximum of 100 because of the COVID-19. They had to limit it, but they did have 83 participants. All participants had to pre-register for the race. The packets were ready for all the runners, including Gatorade masks and participation medals, which is really nice. They had a waiver signed, and all temperatures were taken from the runners. When they were done with the race, then the runners could leave, and so what the Rec Commission is doing is emailing them their results. It'll also be posted on the social media page. A special thanks to Barbara Jennings and the Jennings family, as it was her 38th year that Barbara has run in this event for the recreation, which I thought was amazing. That's It's very good. And the Rec Commission wants to thank the Pompton Lakes Fire and Ambulance Squad and the Pompton Lakes Police. Next year, put this on your calendar, the event will be on Sunday, September 5th, 2021. The Rec Group is also looking at a fitness class on a virtual situation, and they're trying to figure out how they can get that up, because I guess a lot of people really are missing their exercise classes with Ellen Brown, but they have a way of doing that virtually, so they're working on that as we speak, and hopefully that'll be up and running. So that's my report on the rec. The Pompton Lake Health Department is having a flu vaccine clinic for ages 3 and up. The masks, face masks are mandatory and appointments are required. There will be no walk-ins, and there's a phone number that you can call. It's Town Hall with an extension 235. When you go, you have to remain in your car, and then they will call your cell phone. So you have to register, put your cell phone in, and then on that day they will call you. So that's pretty much the way that I think they're working it, even in the doctor's offices now. The fee is $15, and if you are in Medicare Part B, that will be free. It is starting September 21st, and it will be every Monday after that, October 5th and October 19th from 2:30 to 4:15, and they will have extended hours in October from 2:30 to 6 p.m. And it will be held here, I believe. Is that correct? It'll be held here?
Yes.
Yes, it'll be held in the municipal chambers. So that is my update on the health department. I'm going to let Councilwoman Polidori go over the Little River cleanup. We discussed how that might or may not happen. It just depends on, because we're concerned about the COVID and touching of the garbage, and if the schools are going to allow the environmental club to participate. So we're going to decide that.
Right, I guess that would be a school decision, and if they say yes or no, then we can go from there.
Yeah, because John Toronto he's a wonderful teacher, and he's the environmental club teacher, and he sponsors them, and he brings most of the kids, or they drive, but we have to be very careful this year. So that's, although it's on the calendar for September 27th, we're just going to play it by ear for another couple days until we have a better idea. So we might be having it, we may be canceling it, I don't know. We'll find out. I want to thank you so much for honoring the 9/11 folks and all of the people at that ceremony. It was so beautiful, and it's so important to continue on, and I thank you so much. And Liz, thank you very much for all your hard work on that. And the Lakeside project, I want to thank Eric for years of reviewing that project when that property was owned by a private resident and wanted $100,000 to sell it to the town, so we had contiguous property along our lake. It finally got it for $18,500, which was a steal in my opinion. And from there, we had many plans to do a lot of different things, but because of the flooding and because of a lot of other things, and as you said, Mayor, this was the time to do it. Thank you so much to Councilwoman Polidori for bringing in the playground part, and Eric is correct that we had to change the ordinance so that we could also put some of that open space money towards lands that were not just purchased with open space. That gave us a lot of latitude, and that was a big deal. So because of that, this project's going to be a great project. It'll also follow through with your aging friendly plan, because everybody at every age enjoys the view of the lake. It is a beautiful lake. If you're lucky enough to have a boat or a kayak, you can view it from another view, and it's just as pretty from the lake looking to the shore as it is from the shore looking out to the lake and all the homes. And at night, it's beautiful, and I'm very fortunate to live out there and to see all the beautiful lights and the stars and the moon at night, but it's beautiful during the day. So I think that's going to be a win-win for everybody, no matter what age you are. They will benefit from that project. I
agree.
And I thank the council for supporting that 100%. And that's my report.
Thank you. Going back to the nurse, I'm still meeting weekly with the mayors of Passaic County discussing how we're handling the COVID virus and other things we are talking about. And I'll give you an example. We talked about which towns would be doing fireworks on Labor Day, because we understood that if 1 or 2 towns did it, the towns outside of those towns would run to those fireworks because they were free, and that's when we all decided as a group to do ID per town, so other towns were not getting mixed in. I also talk with the Congresswoman's office once a week, the nurse's office here in town that does, our nurse does here in Wayne, and I'm usually on the phone with her giving me updates about our coronavirus cases daily. Luckily, the cases have slowed down a little bit in the last couple of weeks, which is good news. So if we keep doing the right thing, we do have the colder months coming, so we still have to stay diligent and still, do what we have to do to make things work the right way here. But let's hope and pray that things stay the same way they are going right now. Councilwoman Palladori.
Thank you. First, I would like to thank the mayor for his words of remembrance on this anniversary of 9/11. I would like to thank the police, fire department, other local volunteers and scouts that I saw join us this evening. I would also like to extend a special thank you to Councilman Venon for his participation in the 9/11 Remembrance Run. It is important that we continue to acknowledge this every year and that we teach the children that were not old enough to remember what this day signifies and why it's so important that we continue to acknowledge it. So thank you to everyone that participated in that today. I would like to welcome the children back to school. We are starting to emerge out of 6 months of living in a way of life that we are not familiar with, and it's been challenging at times. I want to thank our school system. I really think that families had a lot of concerns and a lot of different situations, whether it be via their health or having gone back to work and schedules that needed to be accommodated in different ways. I think we've really offered an opportunity for every family to make the choice that's right for them, whether it be through the hybrid learning program or the 100% virtual. What worked best for our family was for my son to participate in the 10 weeks of virtual remote-only learning. And I will tell you from speaking with numerous parents who have children that have gone in to some degree and to those that have stayed home, I've just heard nothing but success stories all around. The kids have really taken well to this. They've adapted easily to a school year that's unlike any other they've ever participated in. And my son is very happy. I mean, we're in day 2, so...
Day 2.
So far, so good.
Let's talk on day 20.
So far, so good. We all seem to be keeping our sanity. But I do want to thank everyone that worked so hard to make that possible so that everyone could do what was most comfortable for them. I do want to take a minute to acknowledge the Order of the Eastern Star Mountain View chapter and the Freemasons Genesis Lodge for turning the town teal to bring awareness to ovarian cancer this month. I know they worked hard. You see the ribbons all over town, so thank you to them. I would like to remind everyone that as of, I think it was last Friday, we returned 25% to indoor dining. Our restaurants, who are always there to support us and our sports teams and our events, have had a very difficult 6 months. This will help them in conjunction with whatever small aspect of outdoor dining they've been able to utilize to at least bring their numbers up a little bit. So I encourage you, with whatever is most comfortable for you, whether it be takeout, outdoor dining, indoor dining, to continue through these next few challenging months to help support our businesses and bring them back to life. And I do want to thank the mayor and council for their support on moving forward with the Lakeside project. One of the first things that I wanted to work on when I was appointed to the seat of council was to revamp one of our existing playgrounds to be an all-inclusive play space. I think it's very important for families to have an opportunity and a place to go where they can be together and utilize both special needs playground equipment and traditional playground equipment in a safe environment. So I am very, very grateful to Councilwoman Kent and Councilman DeLine for allowing me to share my vision and to step into the work that they have done in the years leading up to this to include my thoughts on what would help that Lakeside Park project. I can't tell you how completely excited I am for the day to come when we have a beautiful boardwalk in the water and a playground and safe fencing around the playground so that families can go and be comfortable and enjoy this beautiful park that we have in town overlooking our lake. I think if these last 6 months have taught us anything, it's that the time that we're spending with our families and the time that we're using our outdoor recreational facilities, it's very important, right? We've all kind of gone back to that family time and being outside and using our parks and our trails, and and our playground. So I'm really excited about this. I can't tell you how honored I am to be a part of it. So thank you. And thank all of the rest of you that approved this project so that we could move forward. And that is my report.
Thank you. Professional report.
Nothing this evening, Mayor, unless there are any questions.
Any questions? No. Administrative report.
I provided the governing body with my outline, my report, and my backup material last week. The first item on my agenda is a letter from William Palumbo. Mr. Palumbo lives at 134 Cedar Avenue. He is looking to purchase 2 Craig Place, which is a very small piece of property, 0.07% of an acre, because it has to be cut by the borough DPW. It's adjacent to his property. It's right on the corner of Craig and Cedar Avenue. A copy of the map in your report. If I remember my law correctly on this, Dave, I believe because he's a continuous property owner, we could sell that to him for a fair assessed value. Am I correct on that?
Well, if he were the only contiguous property owner, but it looks like there are 2 contiguous
there's one guy, okay,
property
yeah.
owners. Yeah, so it's the highest bidder between the 2. But
Okay.
if the other property owner has no interest in it, then I think we can negotiate. It doesn't make sense to just have one bid.
So my question for the governing body is there any desire to sell this piece of property? I need to have the assessor and the attorneys to work on this, and we would make sure that the cost should be borne by the person who buy the property, but we should see if the council's even willing to, want to try to...
Is this where one of the homes came down?
No.
No, no, I don't believe so. It's not my time frame, no.
Okay, so why do we have this piece of property initially?
I mean, we came to it like we come to all kinds of crazy pieces of property. Maybe somebody left it vacant and we picked up as part of a foreclosure at the end of a tax sale. All I know is a gentleman wrote a very nice letter saying that he maintained it, it adds to his property, which adds to his assessment, maybe actually increases our tax mitigable a little bit. I guess up to the governing body. If there's interest, I can start to try to play around with it up to the
Is it, how big a piece is it?
0.07 of an acre.
Or 0.07?
It is undevelopable, correct?
Right.
That's my next question, yes.
Yep.
Okay, so it's undevelopable, it's 0.07, not 0.7.
0.07.
Okay. Anybody questions about that or concerns?
No, I'll just say that I'm in favor of it. I mean, it allows the contiguous homeowner a little bit extra space on that side of the street. I don't know how, he might be able to expand his home somewhat, but that's technically a second front yard. It makes perfect sense to me to go ahead and do that.
It's got to be worth $500,000, I'm thinking, so I'd say...
Well, the assessed value is $130,000. It probably won't be that much, but it'll be worth something.
Okay, any concerns on this side?
No,
All right, so let's move forward and see what... the only concern I have is that we do have to check with the...
I'll deal with the attorneys on that and move forward, and I'll talk to the assessor, but at least now I know and I'll let them know we're willing to do that.
Good to move forward.
The next thing on my list was of note was after the storm a few weeks ago. I know town lost power townwide for a number of days. In the end, the borough in and of itself spent $44,000 relative to debris removal and overtime, police, DPW, and so forth. I am not quite sure yet what the final answer for the state of New Jersey is, or County of Passaic, whether or not this will be deemed a reimbursable expense under FEMA. I'm not even sure if the President even actually declared this an emergency under President's declaration. But bottom line is that hopefully, once the paperwork is done, there's enough of an overall dollar loss in the County of Passaic and the state of New Jersey that we'll be able to apply to FEMA for a $44,000 reimbursement. If not, it's $400,000 that we had to spend, that we had to spend, and got
Now,
funded somewhere.
that did come up in our conversation with the Congresswoman yesterday, and a lot of towns are pushing to make sure the declaration gets declared by the President, so we can try to put in for the funding. So hopefully they're pushing for it, so we can get that.
See how it goes, but we're prepared. We provide our information. Relative to COVID-19, the county is going to have another mobile testing site at our high school. They like our location for this part of the county. And this time it's going to be on a Saturday, which allows people who work to come get tested Saturday, October 17th at the Pompton Lakes High School. There'll be a county mobile testing site. It'll be a saliva test from 9 to 3. As the mayor mentioned, our 2020 roadway resurfacing program included all the Stiles Court area, Stiles Court north, south, east, and west. We paved that today and yesterday. We're going to do Jefferson from Colfax to the railroad tracks, hopefully tomorrow, but they're calling for heavy rain tomorrow. We're also going to be redoing the boat ramp on Lakeside as part of this project, and also redoing the firehouse on 3 of the 4 sides, because one of the side closer to Wanacue Ave has a joint ownership with the property owner next to it, so we're not going to touch that as far as that goes. But bottom line is that hopefully the weather holds out. We'll do Jefferson, the firehouse, and the boat launch tomorrow. And then, as the mayor said, the next thing, Colfax Avenue, we have our pre-construction meeting on Friday, which means basically the contractor's getting ready to put together a game plan and give us some dates to start doing that project. So that will be underway. As you know, the governor signed the Coronavirus Relief Bond Act. The Relief Bond Act will allow communities to bond for expenses and/or loss of the tax rateable, so forth and so on, due to the virus and the economic impact that we're all feeling. But there's going to be a lot of caveats to that. You're going to have to be able to have our CFO, certify certain losses and so forth and so on. And it's not a long-term bond. It is a short-term special emergency bond that you would do after a flood. So they're pretty hefty, because what's going to happen is you're going to take, let's say you turn around and say we're going to, bond $1 million because we lost $1 million in revenue X, Y, and Z. Well, that $1 million is now paid back every year over 5 years. And that goes right on the budget. It's not when you take a bond for a 20-year bond for doing road projects, you can spread over time. It's a heavy hit. We felt those hits after the hurricanes. So to be very careful. So it's a nice option to have. We have to be very careful, in fact, when we want to use that. Right now we don't have that issue. I hope we don't have to have that issue. But as I mentioned to the mayor on the phone the other day, I'm concerned because I haven't heard from the governor really in any way, shape, or form what the real bottom line is on our state aid is. He mentioned the state's buckling its belt and cutting 10% of his budget, but he didn't really say where state aid was. And we received our first normal aid payments up until now. I believe the new budget is going to be adopted in September. That's going to be a wild card, because that could be a definite hit if state aid is dramatically reduced, because we've already received, we've gone through almost a full year, and we're going to get hit at the end with a reduction in state aid. So we'll see where it goes. I understand the situation. But that being said, this is my normal time to send out my budget information to the staff. I'm not doing that this year. I'm really letting the staff know that 2021 is going to be 2020 all over again. No sense in going through all the paperwork and all the rigmarole, digging through stuff and justifying stuff. My bottom line is that is what we appropriate in 2020, we're going to appropriate for your department in 2021. Make it short, make it simple, and see where we're at. Because even that number might not be legit, depending on what happens in terms of issues with the state and the budget. Same thing with the capital. Right now, the only thing I have planned for capital is the pothole project. That has a $250,000 nest egg already set aside. So it costs another $50,000, $300,000 to finish it. I do not see us doing much in capital. Again, it could all change, but I have to take the approach that it's not going to be a pleasant picture economically going into 2021. So that's the budget thing. And the last thing I just want to say is relative to flu shots. People who normally don't get the flu shots, I understand, but I think this year consideration should be to get a flu shot if you are not averse to getting vaccinations, because this is a very difficult year as we get to the fall. The coronavirus is not going away anytime soon, and a flu shot might at least help you try to take some of the edge off what could possibly be a very bad fall, flu, and virus season. So we offer that program in town. I do recommend everybody take advantage of it if possible.
Are employees, where are employees falling with the flu?
We give it to them for free.
Okay, So all the employees know that, right?
We give them for free. And we're already setting up our schedule now for Sue to take care of us, 21st of October, and then September, a couple weeks, yeah. Yeah, we take care of our people for free.
All right, and just going back to the budget a little bit, you know, we don't know what the budget's going to be, so we're preparing for the worst. Maybe it's better, but we're preparing for the worst, and basically telling all our departments there will be no extra spending coming next year. You know, we're trying to hold steady with what we got, and if we get extra funding, then we'll revisit it, but right now, that's where we fall with all the departments. Any questions for the administrator?
Mayor,
Yes.
I have one. On the vaccines for the employees, are they required to have a vaccine?
No, they are not, but we offer for free, and hopefully most people take the opportunity to get a free flu vaccine if you're so desire to get a flu vaccine. But they're not required, no.
I have a question then for the attorney. Can we require them?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
You said I can't,
I do not.
can require or we cannot?
We cannot.
Cannot, okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, have a motion to open the meeting for public comment.
So moved.
Councilman Devine, Councilwoman Alidori, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Gita Curtis, 111 Ramapo Avenue. I'm an essential worker. I lost my job May 1st, but I worked the first 2 months. My husband goes to work every day. He's an essential worker. We need council people that can come down here and represent us. It's a little crazy, this accommodation here for Terry Riker, councilwoman. I'm a real person. I don't like being here. I hate coming here. I come here because I don't trust any of you. But she is voted in to sit in that chair. If she can't do her job, she should resign. Out of the ivory tower, into the chair, do your job. I didn't want to talk about that, but this is just so in your face and obnoxious. Is she better than me? Is she better than the people that deliver her food? Should she take less risk? Who is this person who runs the bid that's funded by DuPont 60%? Come on. Unbelievable attitude and arrogance.
That's your opinion. Go ahead.
It's a fact. We can all see it, and
That's your opinion.
know it.
Go ahead. Move
And
on.
I'm allowed to my opinion.
Your?
Without interruption from the attorney or Eric DeLon.
Please, Councilman Devine, don't interrupt.
Let me correct you on one thing. I'm the representative for the bid.
Oh, but she talks about it all the time.
It's okay. She's allowed to talk about it.
Oh, she's the president of it.
No.
No.
What does she have to do with it then?
She goes to the meetings.
That's it?
That's it.
I thought she was like whole responsible for it. Jesus. 60% from DuPont? Your funding?
It's by property value.
60% from DuPont?
It's by property value.
No, yes or no would be nice, but okay, I hear you. I see it. So I don't want to talk about that, but it's just so arrogant to me, and I think everybody else knows that. I don't want to be here. But what I really wanted to talk about was the history, blank, whatever, commission and the 125 anniversary. Trying to find out where we are with that.
No, we passed that.
We didn't do anything.
Well, we have a
So can we
virus.
do 126? I mean, I understand it was COVID in 2020 and all that. It's just
Well,
going to get worse
that would-
from here,
That would be a historical committee decision, and they decided because, and the right decision, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
Not to bring people together.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So we can revisit that through the historic committee if that's something they wanted to.
Well, I tried to go to the meeting, but no one was there. And it was on the website and...
Well,
it was
they have virtual meetings now.
Oh, but they should tell people that. It shouldn't be a little clique, a
There's
little
no click.
Republican clique.
Would you like to join?
I would.
We could put you right on there.
then please do. I've been asking for a long time, but I have a D next to my name. So that is unacceptable in this town.
So let me ask you something. On the Shade Tree Commission, what letter do they have?
D, it's the
Okay.
only D commission, and it's the only working commission,
All right, you got-
not funded by DuPont.
You got 2 minutes. Keep talking.
2 minutes. What do we got here? I got nothing.
Okay. Thank you.
That was fun.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Is there any more events coming up?
You have to give your name and address, please.
Stephen Roberts, 2921 Hugh Avenue.
Okay, and what was your question?
Is there any more events coming up, like the fireworks?
For fireworks, no, but the fireworks were just passed. The next event that would be happening would be Halloween. We're not sure what we're doing yet for that.
Okay, thank you.
Unfortunately, we had to cancel a lot of the events.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on TV, I think. All right, yeah, thank you, that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Please step up.
Hello, Lloyd Kent, 17 Glen Court. I'm going to be quick here because I think everyone's spoken about it, but from the member of the public, I just wanted to thank the mayor and council and everyone for all the hard work on the Lakeside Park Lakefront project. It has been a long time coming. We started with what we're calling the Muller property because that's who we acquired it from at a very good price, and we've been working on that end of it for some time. And when Councilwoman Polidori got involved, brought in the park aspect of it. So altogether, it's going to be a beautiful project. Looking forward to it being completed. Long been a proponent of kayaking on the lake, where residents who don't live on the lake can bring their boat, can store their boat there under lock and key. We have a kayak holding frame there that they can keep their kayaks there so they don't have to transport it every time they want to use the lake. And there will be a launch on the a kayak launch as well, so they don't have to try and get in the kayak from the ground. They can go out on the dock, and it's a very nice launch for them to get into the water very easy. Unfortunately, with the algae bloom, but we don't have it yet. The algae bloom, we can't use it, but by the time we put it in, I'm sure the algae bloom will be long gone. But again, thank you to everyone for the vote tonight, and to move forward, I look forward to its completion.
So just to follow up on that, the Open Space Committee was put in place just for what we're doing here. And I can tell you that Councilwoman Kent, before she was involved on the dais here, many years well before this, was one of the big fighters to get the Open Space Committee moving forward and to try to put some money aside to set recreation and to set those things that we're looking at doing. So, these are all good things that are going to help the community. I agree with you said about the kayaking. More people can use the lake and enjoy the lake, and these are all good things. And I think the playground, how it's coming out, will work out nicely. So I think it's a great project, good spending of the money, and I can't see any negatives to it at this point. So that's good. And let me just say, Councilman or Polidori or DeWine might know, we still have some money in the Open Space Fund after we spend this money, correct? So we are looking at some other projects. Okay, anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, motion to close the public session.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman DeWine, Councilman Venon, Council President Venon. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Approach of the floor. Anybody approach of the floor?
Just one thing.
Go ahead.
All right, you had mentioned the golf outing. All right, and as a Rotary member, I'd like to thank the business community for their support. They are always out there to help us. It's one of our bigger fundraising drives that we have every year, and I thank you for that.
Yeah, it's great. Had a lot of fun. Anybody else?
That's not real quick, Mayor. So we're number 4 behind Ringwood and regarding the census. We're number 4 behind Ringwood, Northfield, and Wanacue.
Good. Okay, so we're moving up.
It's a close race, too.
It's a close
It is,
race.
very close.
It's not over yet. I think we should be number 1 by they said we're done, but I'm just going to say that. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Councilman
Motion, Riker.
Council President Venon, Councilwoman Polidori. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, thank you.
Good night.
Take care.
Good night.